Let's talk about immigration.
Two-thirds are fed up with the government on immigration.
Who are the third that are happy with the government's immigration policy? That's what I want to know. I mean, it's mind-blowing. There are a third of people. But I think, do you know who I think it is? It's the Greenies and the lefties.
It's people like Nigel.
People like Nigel.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't have any common sense or understanding at all.
Because you and I, there are too many people coming in legally and far too many people coming in illegally, because he worries about, it gives a bad impression for Britain if we're hostile to migrants.
Look, if you look at these figures, I mean, they are really all over the place. 43% say that immigration has a positive effect on Britain, which overall I think it does. 37%,
if it's managed.
37% say it's negative.
And it isn't managed.
Well, yeah, except that 48% are talking about wanting it reduced. So these figures don't quite come together. If you think that immigration is positive, and overall it is, I mean, you're talking obviously about legal immigration, and I know the figures are really high, but a lot of that's been from Hong Kongers, Ukrainians,
thousands crossing the channel illegally.
Well, then we're in a different area of immigration. First, they're not illegal.
They are.
It's not illegal to cross the English Channel.
They are crossing the channel illegally without any ID papers, which they've chucked over.
No, if they land here without ID papers, that's the illegal bit.
Yeah.
That is then trumped by being an asylum seeker.
They're not asylum seekers, they're economic migrants.
Well, hang on. If they come here and they actually claim asylum, then whether you like it or not, they are asylum seekers.
I don't like it.
I don't like it at all. And the main thing is that, you know, we understand. Look, I'm an immigrant's child. Both my parents were immigrants. They came over, they made a life for themselves, they paid taxes throughout their whole life, and I'm living here. So immigration is a good thing, but not all immigration is equal. So, you know, yes, we want more doctors and qualified people to come and work in this country and help this country progress. But, you know, it's not going to be the same for a low-paid worker, and it's definitely not going to be the same for the people that are coming over illegally. Whether, you know, it's just not the same thing.
Tonia, we do need actually low-paid workers. I mean, one of the problems about food inflation is because we've got rid of free movement, we are not getting the people who would normally come from EU countries to pick fruit and vegetables. And the result of that is we can pay them 20% less. The result of that is that we've got to employ people here to go and do it at much higher wages, and that contributes to the extra costs that when you
I understand that, but there's other migration that we need to get control of. If you're a student here, you come to study here, and then you're allowed to work for how many years? Is it 2 to 4 years on top? And often then they end up staying here.
Bringing their families.
Bringing their families to study. I mean, that's mind-blowing to me.
Well,
you've come over to some
students who, and then they're not sort of 17, 18. Some of them are an awful lot older with families. And again,
too bad.
Do we want
choices.
to attract top people from abroad to come and study here, boosting our universities, boosting
No, because I think it's exclusion of our homegrown
students. You can't leave your family at home. If you were asked to go and work in Australia, would you want to leave everyone you love behind?
But it's a choice. Yeah. It is a choice that you make.
And actually, these people about picking food in the fields, we've got how many people on full-time unemployment benefits, Nigel? They're not all... We've got 2.5 million on incapacity benefit. I don't buy it.
No, I know,
a lot of them have got anxiety issues, nervous issues. The mental health issues.
Okay,
I don't buy it. But
they're
swinging
from
the
a farmer's point of view...
They're swinging the lead,
The
Nigel.
farmer can pay an East European 20% less than they would pay a British worker. That then, whether you think that's right or wrong, that keeps food prices down. So if you employ a British worker, you must employ them on minimum wage, and your food prices go up, which is exactly what has happened.
You have to employ European... People from Eastern Europe have to be paid the minimum wage too.
But it's still 20% less than they would get if they were a British worker.
But that's not the point of immigration, is it? That's not the point of what's going on. It's out of control, because what's happening, especially with the people coming over in the boats, that they are taking the dentist appointments, the doctor's appointments, the accommodation,
well said.
Student accommodation, for British people that have worked very hard. So something has to be fixed. So this... third of people who are not dissatisfied, what are they satisfied with?
Well, they're presumably immigrants.
Well, there you go.
There we are.
That's the thing. Maybe the third of people who are happy with it are here.
This is a representative sample of the country.
And, of course, Nigel's part of the third.
Well, I haven't actually replied to this poll, but, I mean, had I done so, yes, I probably would be.
Oh.
But what are you happy about, Nigel?
Well, the whole thing is, it's what I'm not unhappy about. First of all, it's divided into two things. I'm not too worried about people who come here legitimately on visas. That's fine.
Do you think the 700,000 in a year is about right or too high?
Well, it's not a question of it. I don't think you can set targets on this.
I do.
That was
You think you
artificially
can? I think you
inflated by the Ukrainian
It's a whole
settlements.
town.
And Hong Kong.
700,000 is a big city.
Yes, I know it is.
Bigger than Bristol.
Yes, I know it is.
What, every year?
But the figures were artificially inflated. There was also COVID came in the middle of that, so an awful lot more people came as soon as COVID was over. So those aren't standard figures. I mean, you can't just say, oh, well, let's limit it to 200,000 or something like that. The Tories
Well, I don't understand why that can't be done.
Targets that don't work.
I could.
I think we do have
The Tories used to have a target of low tens of thousands.
That's right, and it never worked. It never worked.
Well, they should have made it work.
But you can't make it work if you want people to fill jobs in this country or bring people in to do specialist kind of work. That's
We don't need Lithuanians to make coffee.
And so that's why that part never worked. When it comes to dealing with the cross-channel channel migrants, yes, you're right. That's a whole different ball game. And if only Rishi Sunak would come up with something reasonable to deal with it, we might be able to control the problem.